Okay, let's have a look at the kanji here. We're starting with the kanji for up. It's very simple. You can see you've got the ground there, and then you've got what started out as a dot. And then the line here indicates that it's above the ground, so that means up. And the kakijun, the stroke order, is down, ich, across ni, and sang. And we're going to be using the kun reading, which is ue. That means above, and we're going to use it to indicate relative location. Teburu no ue, above the table. Teburu no ue ni hon ga arimasu. Above the table, there is a book. Okay, now let's move down and have a look at the kanji for down. There it is. Again, you've got that line indicating the ground. You've got a dot indicating below. And that line down there, again, is the opposite to the line going up. So it further emphasizes going down. And the kakijun goes ichi across, ni. We're going to be using the kun reading, shita. Notice shi, ta. When you pronounce a shi in Japanese, you pronounce it very quickly. Shita, shita, and that means below. So if the book were below the table, it would be teburu no shita ni hon ga arimasu. Let's look at the next kanji. It's this one here, and it means before. Before when we're talking about time, but when we're talking about place, it actually means in front of. Here we're going to be using the kun reading again. That's the Japanese reading, mae. That's how we're going to pronounce it, mae. Now you actually have already met this in the word na mae. Na is name and mae in front of, so it's the name that is in front of you. It's your name, na mae. But this mae we're going to use as a relative location. So again, in front of the table would be teburu no mae. There's a book in front of the table. Teburu no mae ni hon ga arimasu. Now the stroke order is a little tricky. Let's go and have a look at that now. Here's the stroke order. So ich, ni across the top, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku. Now whilst that kanji continues to draw itself, let's have a look at the elements here on the left hand side. This is the printed form, of course. This is the writing using a brush, a bamboo brush, and this is how it looks when it's fast or shorthand. But if we have a look over here, we can see it's got two horn type structures and then a line underneath. Now we do call that element animal horns. On the left hand side, we've got what could be either a moon, so it could mean month, but it's also the same shape as the character for meat becomes when it becomes an element in a character. And then finally on this end we've got the katakana ri, and that is actually the symbol for a sword. Now this is not the actual original meaning. The original meaning of this kanji, this top bit here was foot, indicating walking forwards. This was a boat, and this was in fact a river, so it was a boat moving forwards in a river. But that doesn't really work for us, so we're going to take animal horns on top and interpret this one as meat or flesh. And here we've got a sword. Now this is my story. Before we can take the animal with its horns, let's say cow, and eat the flesh, eat the meat, we've got to take our sword and cut it up so we can put it on the stove and make delicious steaks. So before animal horns, meat or flesh, part of the body, and sword. The next character is here, and this is even more complicated, and this again has a location meaning and a time meaning. If it's time, it means after, and if it's location, it means behind, which is strange because in England they seem to be, in English they're opposite concepts, but the Japanese, it's the same concept. So after in terms of time, or behind in terms of location. So again, behind the table would be teburu no ushiro. Ushiro. Note that you have to write the ro separately after the kanji. This kanji only says ushi, and you've got to write the ro separately. So behind the table, teburu no ushiro ni hon ga arimasu. There's a book behind the table. Let's have a look at this kakijun, the stroke order. Okay, here we go. Here's the stroke at the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3. That's the element from to go. We call that the going element. Here we've got 1, 2, 3. That's of course the two little cocoon things. That means silkworms. That's a little silk bug. And here we have walking legs. Let's have a look at that one more time. Left-hand side, the element to go. 1, 2, 3. Then we've got the silk cocoons here. 1, 2, third stroke. And then underneath we've got those walking legs. Now we'll let that continue to draw. We'll see what we can do in terms of a story. Now, I like to think of someone going around, and there's that silkworm there. There's that walking leg. Someone's going to go and walk behind those silkworms. They're going, there are the silkworms, and they're going to walk around behind. So that means behind. The last kanji we're going to look on this page is the middle, and it's very easy, isn't it? Look, it's just here, a box shape and then a line straight down the middle. Here it is. Okay, obviously it's got a box shape, and the stroke is always down on the left, cross and down, and finish it off. And then comes a line straight through the middle. And having that box with those guidelines here makes it a little easier for you to actually make that lovely kanji shape. There we have it, and that means middle or inside, either of that. We're going to use again the kun reading, the kun yomi, that's the Japanese pronunciation. It's naka, and when we add it as a relative location, for example, in the middle of the table, teburu no naka, that's the pronunciation we use. So there's a book in the middle of the table, teburu no naka ni hon ga arimasu.